One fateful day, the tranquility of the village was shattered. A terrible crime was committed. The village chief's prized cow, an animal that symbolized wealth and prosperity, was stolen. The village was thrown into turmoil. The chief, a stern and unforgiving man, demanded swift justice and ordered an immediate investigation. Once upon a time, in a small, neat village in northern Nigeria, lived a young woman named Amina. Amina was known throughout the village for her kindness, innocence, and unwavering honesty. She was a gentle soul who spent her days helping her neighbors, tending to her family's modest farm, and caring for her younger siblings. Amina's life was simple yet fulfilling. She had dreams of becoming a teacher and sharing her love for learning with the children of her village. Every evening, she would gather the village children under the shade of a large mango tree and teach them to read and write, filling their minds with stories and knowledge. Her bright smile and warm heart endeared her to everyone. She was a cherished lady. One fateful day, the tranquility of the village was shattered. A terrible crime was committed. The village chief's prized cow, an animal that symbolized wealth and prosperity, was stolen. The village was thrown into turmoil. The chief, a stern and unforgiving man, demanded swift justice and ordered an immediate investigation. The village elders convened a meeting to discuss the matter. Fear and suspicion spread like wildfire, and people began to look at their neighbor with distrust. Amid the growing tension, a young man named Musa, who had long harbored unspoken feelings for Amina, saw an opportunity to gain the chief's favor and perhaps win Amina's heart. Musa approached the elders and falsely accused Amina of the theft. He claimed to have seen her near the chief's pasture on the night the cow disappeared. His words carried weight, and despite her reputation for honesty, the seed of doubt was planted in the villager's mind. The chief, eager to resolve the matter swiftly and restore his authority, ordered Amina to be brought before him. Amina was bewildered when the village guards came to her. She was taken to the chief's compound, where a crowd had gathered. The chief's face was stern as he addressed her. "Amina," he said, "you have accused of stealing my prized cow. Do you deny this?" Tears welled up in Amina's eyes as she shook her head. "I am innocent, my chief. I would never commit such a crime. I have always lived my life honestly." But the chief was not swayed by her plea. The pressure to resolve the issue and the mounting anger of the villagers clouded his judgment. "We must take an example," he declared. "To deter others from committing such acts, Amina, you shall be punished." A sense of dread filled the air as the villagers realized what was coming. The chief's words were final, and there was no room for appeal. Amina's fate was sealed. That evening, as the sun set over the village, casting long shadows on the ground, a pyre was built in the center of the village. Amina was tied to a wooden stake, her hands bound, her face streaked with tears, but holding an air of serene acceptance. The villagers, many of whom had known her since she was a child, watched in horror and sorrow. Whispers of doubt and guilt spread among them, but no one dared to speak against the chief's decree. As the fire was lit, The flame began to lick at the dry wood, crackling and roaring. Amina closed her eyes and prayed for strength. She thought of her family, the children she had taught under the mango tree, and the life she had dreamt of. Her innocence and purity were like a beacon amidst the gathering darkness. Suddenly, a shout pierced the air. "Wait!" A figure emerged from the crowd. It was Musa. Overcome with guilt and the realization of the magnitude of his lie, he could no longer bear the weight of his deceit. "Stop! Amina is innocent. I lied." The villagers gasped, and the village chief's eyes widened in shock. Musa fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I lied to gain favor with the chief. Amina did not steal the cow. Please, spare her." The chief, stunned by this revelation, ordered the fire to be extinguished. The villagers rushed to douse the flames, but it was too late. The fire had already claimed Amina's life. The smell of smoke and the sight of the charred pie filled the air. With an unbearable heaviness, Amina's lifeless body hung limp against the stake, her innocence forever lost to the flames of injustice. A profound silence fell over the village. The chief, realizing the grave error he had made, was consumed by regret and shame. Musa's confession had come too late to save Amina, and the weight of his action would haunt him for the rest of his days. In the days that followed, the village mourned Amina's tragic death. Her family was inconsolable, and the children she had taught cried for the loss of their beloved teacher. The mango tree under which she had taught the children became a place of remembrance. Flowers were laid at its base, and villagers would come to pay their respects, reflecting on the innocence that had been cruelly snuffed out. The chief, unable to bear the guilt of his hasty decision, stepped down from his position, and the village elders took it upon themselves to ensure that such a tragedy would never happen again. They vowed to seek truth and justice with patience and wisdom, honoring Amina's memory by changing the way they handled accusations and disputes. Musa, broken by the consequences of his lie, spent the rest of his life in atonement. He devoted himself to helping Amina's family and the village, seeking forgiveness for the wrong he had done, but he could never escape the shadow of his actions, and the pain of his betrayal lingered with him until his dying days.